So people often ask me, how do I manifest? And they're like, hey Ty, you seem to be one of the most abundant manifestors that I know. And in this video, I want to talk to you about how I manifested my dream house, the house that I'm actually in right now. So before we actually had this house built, we lived somewhere else, and I always had this desire to have like my dream house with multiple bedrooms, many bedrooms, many bathrooms, many floors, and just like a beautiful pool in the background, or in the backyard, I should say, a jacuzzi, a sauna, just everything that I wanted. My dream kitchen, video room, everything, right? Dining room, everything that you could ever imagine. And the way that it started was first getting clear on what I wanted, right? So I had to get super clear on exactly what I wanted. So on this phone, this very phone that I have here, I still have the notes of everything that I would write down. So I would go and buy these magazines, and I would go in and find out, what was in the newer houses, and I would go in and look at like showrooms and things like that, and just keep this list of everything that I wanted in my dream house before I even had it, before I even had the ability to be able to afford it. And I would have this running list. I want these types of floors in it. I want it to be all white. I want, to have these huge high ceilings with overlooking second floor, and just all of these little things, right? And this was over time. I did this over several months, and I was able to do this actually over a year's time. So I would get all these magazines, I would just flip through them and just daydream and just think about what it would feel like for me to live in this house. What it would feel like for me and my wife to have conversations in the living room, for my children to be in this house, and what their bedrooms would look like, and family members coming over and friends coming over, and us having parties and being in the pool, and the feeling that they would get, and what it would feel like being in the sauna and having the heat in the sauna and the sweat dripping off my face, and all of these things getting to a point where I'm picturing it, and I'm imagining it, and I'm believing it, and I'm seeing it even before it was such a thing, right? So I've done this with cars, I've done this with just trips, vacations, just a variety of different things. Ideal clients, what I want my business to look like, what I want my health to look like. And the more real that you can get with this, the more real that you can get. And at first it feels really funny, it feels really strange, right? But I think that as we start to tune back into our imagination, the same imagination that we had as children, when we would play on the floor, or run around the house, or play outside, or ride our bikes and imagine things, right? We tap back into that imagination where the sky was the limit and nothing had to be realistic. So that's where I brought myself back to, and I'm asking you to bring yourself back to that. That's the first step. The second step is putting yourself in the actual environment. So what do I mean by that? So I would drive by these dream houses that, I could see myself pulling myself up into that house's driveway. I could see myself pulling into the garage. I could see myself getting out of my car, walking into the front door, right? So driving by these neighborhoods that had these huge multi-million-dollar homes, and homes that just were new, and it had, everything that I wanted in them. Then I took it a step further. Started going in to open houses, right? Setting up appointments with realtors that had open houses. So oftentimes on the weekends, you'll notice that realtors will hold open houses for houses that are up for sale. So I would go in and I would look at these houses that kind of fit the description, that kind of fit the square footage. I wanted something huge, and I wanted something of a certain price point, right? And looking at, and again, before I knew how I could afford it, before I even had the ability to get it, before I even knew all of the proper steps to take, going in and putting all of this in place, and walking through these houses and asking questions as if I was going to really buy that house in that moment. That's the step that a lot of people miss. So a lot of people will go by and they'll list out everything. They'll cut out pictures. They'll put it on their vision board. I did all of that as well. I think that's a very important step. They'll drive by the houses, right? But the thing that a lot of people miss, and they don't have the nerve to do it, but once you start to get the nerve to do it, this is what your body starts to, your mind, the universe starts to say, okay, this is a person that really feels like they're comfortable in this environment. So the step is to make sure that you start to now put yourself in that position just as someone who would really be after that thing, who would really be serious about purchasing that car or that house, right? So in my case, going in to these open houses, talking to the realtors, asking them what's the square footage, asking them, could this, if it was a new construction, could we customize this area, and what are the floor plans, and what are the layouts, and who's the builder, and what other neighborhoods do we have, and how many homes would be in this particular neighborhood if it was a neighborhood that was, again, new construction and it wasn't fully built out. What lots had basement abilities, right? So all of these questions that you would ask as if you were truly already in the position. And that's the key. Acting as if you're truly already in the position. And the more often you do this, initially it's going to be scary. Initially it's going to be frightening. Initially you're going to think, well, they think I'm asking dumb questions, or they're going to sense that I don't belong here. But you do it 2 or 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. And now you start to believe that you belong here. And when you start to believe that you belong there, everyone else starts to believe that you belong there. All right? I'm going to say that again. When you start to believe that you belong there, everyone else starts to believe that you belong there. And that's when things truly happen. That's when the universe starts to work in your favor. That's when God starts to work in your favor. That's when whatever it is that you believe in truly starts to work in your favor, and you'll start to see things that you've never seen before. You'll start to see opportunities that you've never seen before. You'll start to see ways of things happening and becoming that you've never seen before. So the moment that you start to believe it, right, and you start to practice this often, you can't make it. Me and my younger daughter, my daughter Summer, we started to make a game out of this. So on Saturdays, before she had practice or so, her and I would do what we would call DDD Day, and that's Daddy, Daughter, it was 4 Ds actually, DDD Day, Daddy, Daughter, Dunkin' Donuts Day, right? So we would go in and we would go to Dunkin' Donuts and we would get a donut, and then we would drive around to all of these amazing neighborhoods and just look at houses. And she's about 9 or 10 years old, and we're pointing out this house and what she liked in that house and what her bedroom would look like. So you're getting the family involved in it too, right? So especially if you have young kids, the young kids will really get involved with this. Older people, sometimes they have to, be a little bit more realistic. They don't want to tune into their imagination. But when you start doing this and you really tune into your imagination, and most importantly, when you start to believe that you deserve the thing, other people will start to believe it. And then you'll start to see this chain of events that takes place. And that's how I was able to manifest my dream house. All right. So one of the last things that I'll leave you with is put it somewhere where you can see it daily, right? So if you've got a vision board, that's fine, but as many places as possible. So for example, you see in my mirror here, I've got a ton of different things in my mirror that I have written out as well, right? These are other things that I'm manifesting here. So first thing in the morning and last thing at night, right? I come into my bathroom here, and what do I see? So when I'm coming in here, I'll come in and I see these things. So I'm in the mirror and I'm looking at it, right? So even if I'm not consciously looking at it, my subconscious is tuned in, right? So let me know if this works for you guys. Also, let me know if you want to hear about how I manifested my dream cars, right? My dream business, my dream wife, my dream health, right? And my dream vacations as well. Let me know which of the ones you want to hear about, and I'll show you those processes, because those processes are totally different than the process required to manifest your dream home. Put it in the comments. I'll see you.